He had every advantage in life, money, privilege, a future others envied. Yet, every exam, every challenge, ended in failure. No one understood why, even his tutors were baffled. Then, a janitor, a man the world ignored, slipped a single lesson into his life. One secret, one moment that could change everything. But would he even notice it before life moved on, leaving him behind forever? He grew up in a mansion perched on a hill, where every corner whispered wealth and every room promised opportunity. Tutors came and went, private schools opened doors others could only dream of, and every meal, every car ride, every vacation reminded him that he had it all. On the outside, he looked unstoppable, smart, confident, and destined to succeed. But behind closed doors, the truth was different. Tests that should have been easy felt like mountains he could never climb. His parents' expectations weighed on him like chains, friends whispered about his repeated failures, and even his tutors shrugged, unsure how to help. Despite the privilege surrounding him, he felt trapped, haunted by shame, desperate for a breakthrough. That never came. He tried harder, read more, memorized faster, but every effort ended the same: disappointment. No one outside his home could understand the quiet humiliation, the gnawing fear of never measuring up. And then, on an ordinary afternoon, as he sat alone in the school library, papers scattered, frustration simmering, a janitor walked past, unnoticed by everyone else. A man who worked quietly, unseen, yet somehow carried a presence that hinted at wisdom, patience, and a secret that would soon turn the world he knew upside down. The question hung in the air: could he finally see what no one else had taught him, before the weight of failure crushed him entirely? Days turned into weeks, and the pattern of failure showed no mercy. Every test he took, every assignment he submitted, ended the same: red marks, sighs of disappointment, the quiet judgment of teachers who expected more from him simply because of who his parents were. At school, whispers followed him through the halls. Classmates who once admired him now avoided his gaze, some even snickering behind his back. Privilege, he realized bitterly, didn't shield him from humiliation. And yet, no one questioned why he struggled, no one considered that the problem wasn't laziness, it was isolation, pressure, and a system that assumed he would succeed without understanding him at all. It was during one of these long afternoons, as he sat in the library surrounded by books that promised answers he couldn't reach, that he noticed the janitor again. The man moved quietly, methodically, dusting shelves, emptying bins, and sweeping the floor with a rhythm that almost seemed meditative. Most students ignored him. Most teachers barely noticed him. But there was something in the way he carried himself, something calm, steady, and unexpectedly commanding. For reasons he couldn't explain, the billionaire's son felt drawn to this man, a flicker of curiosity igniting in a mind that had begun to despair. One afternoon, he lingered by the janitor's closet, pretending to look for a book, and watched as the man paused, glanced over, and offered a small, knowing smile. That smile carried no judgment, only quiet understanding. It was a moment so simple, yet it rattled him. Could someone he had overlooked, someone society had labeled less than, see what he could not see in himself? The first conversation was brief. A remark here, a suggestion there, delivered in words that were almost casual, yet struck deeper than any tutor's lecture. The janitor didn't offer easy answers. He didn't provide formulas or cheat sheets. Instead, he revealed subtle strategies, small habits, ways of thinking that had been invisible to the boy all along. It wasn't magic, but it was transformative. And yet, even with this guidance, challenges persisted. Tests came, expectations loomed, and every failure threatened to erase the fragile confidence the janitor's words were planting. Then came the day that tested everything. A critical exam, one that could define his entire academic standing, loomed ahead. Anxiety gnawed at him like a relentless predator. Every step to school felt heavier than the last. He remembered the janitor's quiet lessons, replaying them in his mind as if they were lifelines thrown into a stormy sea. But doubt was relentless. What if he failed again? What if all the guidance, all the effort, amounted to nothing? The hallways were quieter than usual that morning, the air thick with anticipation. He entered the exam room, heart pounding, palms slick, vision narrowing to the paper before him. Every question felt like a mountain. Every second stretched unbearably. And then, a memory of the janitor's words flashed in his mind. A single principle, repeated like a mantra. Could this be the moment when everything changed, or would it all crumble, leaving him humiliated once more, and reinforcing the bitter truth he had feared all along. The exam room felt like a pressure cooker. Every tick of the clock echoed in his ears, each second stretching into eternity. His hands shook as he gripped the pen, the paper before him a battlefield, where failure had stalked him for months. Outside, the world seemed oblivious, teachers walking the halls, classmates whispering, life continuing as if nothing mattered. But inside, it was a storm of fear, shame, and desperation. He could almost hear the judgment he imagined. He's privileged, yet he can't even succeed. Then came the question that had stumped him before, the one that had reduced him to panic in every past test. His mind froze. The familiar tight knot of hopelessness began to twist in his chest. He could feel the weight of everyone's expectations pressing down, crushing him under invisible hands. Every instinct screamed that he would fail again, that all hope was gone. And then, like a lifeline thrown into chaos, a voice from memory surfaced, the janitor's words. Simple, understated, yet piercing, focus on what you control. The rest is noise. It wasn't about luck, privilege, or talent. It was about clarity, discipline, seeing the problem differently. He drew a deep breath, shut out the whispers, the judgment, the pressure. He worked methodically, step by step, applying the secret that had seemed so small when it was shared, but now felt like a key unlocking a door he had thought forever closed. Time blurred. His heartbeat thundered in his chest. Sweat beaded on his forehead, but he kept moving. Each answer a small victory over the weight that had haunted him for months. And then, the final question. His pen hovered. Doubt screamed louder than ever. One slip, one hesitation, and it could all be over. But he remembered the janitor's presence, not just the words, but the calm strength, the quiet belief that he was capable. With a sudden surge of focus and courage, he made his choice. A solution, a step he had never dared take before. And as he put down the pen, something inside him shifted. For the first time, he felt in control. Yet outside that room, the world waited. Would it see him succeed, or dismiss it again, blind to the truth that had just unfolded? He walked out of the exam room, exhausted but alive in a way he hadn't felt for months. The weight of failure that had clung to him like a shadow finally loosened its grip. For the first time, he understood that success wasn't just about privilege, wealth, or opportunity. It was about perspective, guidance, and the quiet wisdom of someone willing to see potential where the world only saw labels. The janitor, who had been overlooked and dismissed by nearly everyone, had changed the trajectory of his life. It wasn't a miracle, it wasn't a shortcut. It was recognition of human value beyond appearances, beyond assumptions. That single lesson didn't just teach him how to pass a test, it revealed a truth the world too often ignores. Wisdom, talent, and insight exist in every corner, regardless of skin color, social status, or title. He realized how many others had been denied the same opportunity, not because they lacked ability, but because society failed to see them. The story of a billionaire's son learning from a janitor might seem improbable, but it mirrored a reality millions face every day. People are overlooked, underestimated, and dismissed because of the roles they occupy, the color of their skin, or the expectations society imposes. As he reflected, gratitude mixed with determination. He couldn't change the past, but he could amplify the lessons he'd learned, carry forward the respect and recognition the janitor had shown him, and challenge the biases that blind so many to human potential. And so the question remains, echoing far beyond his own life: how many untapped talents, unheard voices, and overlooked lives are waiting for someone to notice? How many could change the world if only they were seen? This story isn't just about one boy, one janitor, or one secret. It's about a society that still refuses to recognize value where it exists, and the responsibility we all share to look closer, listen deeper, and act differently.